saying? Yeah. The fanatic. Well, we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina. Upstate, 864. Yeah. TFANATTIC. The fanatic where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what.
Welcome into the Fanatic Sports Channel for sports fans, by sports fans. It's your boy, Coach I. All right, man, it's college football week 6. That's right, week 6, man. We're almost halfway through this college football season, even after having to wait seeming like forever for it to get here. And then now we're about to be done with it already, man. But, you know, it's preview time, man. We got to talk about the Red River Rivalry. If you've been PC, if you've been in this thing for a long time, it's the Red River Shootout, but that's not PC. So call it what you want to. It's going down at noon at the state, outside the state fair. So, and when I talk Oklahoma, man, y'all know I got to bring my guy on air with Mike from the Air Raid Attack podcast. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, I'm doing well, Coach I. How about yourself, sir?
Hey, man, hey, another week. We got to get on it. It was a rough Saturday for some teams, and we'll get into that, man. But it's college football nonetheless. I think it's actually, as a college football fan outside of team fandom, it's kind of creating some good college football weeks, with all these teams that's undefeated or winning games that we didn't think they was going to win, man. You know,
Kansas being one, TCU being another.
Not to mention Kansas State only got one loss.
Kansas State, yeah, they're looking. I know it's not about Kansas State, but I was tempted to tweet out yesterday that I think Adrian Martinez, could be a dark horse for the Heisman.
Man, listen, I told somebody the other day, they commented on the video, who's an old Okie State fan. I said, listen, I ain't going to lie. The Big 12 almost like it's wide open right now. Don't know who's going to win.
Yeah, it's definitely wide open. Texas is still in it. Oklahoma has to win out at this point now. And, Baylor's still, of course, in it. But, Oklahoma State's in it. Kansas State. So,
I think the only team
TCU.
I think the only team two teams that are, I would say at this point, I would definitely count out. Oklahoma has more talent than those two, so I know Oklahoma has 2 Big 12 losses, but they got more talent than Iowa State and West Virginia. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. I think West Virginia and Iowa State, I think it's pretty much, they just playing for a good bowl game right now. Yep. That ain't no shot to y'all West Virginia fans and Iowa State fans. I'm just calling it how I see it. I'm not saying that, any other team is guaranteed, but they're at least on the – Texas Tech, who knew? Who knew? You know what I'm saying? So that's where we are right now, man. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. Just to recap this past weekend, man, for both of these teams, Texas did get a win against West Virginia. They covered the spread. I think it was 10. They beat them 38-20. So I think that was pretty much expected. JT Daniels just kind of up there playing by himself for West Virginia. So
I'm with you on that one. I think JT Daniels is just there. I don't know why he chose West Virginia, probably besides the chance of obviously starting, but that's about as much as he's going to get in West Virginia. But no, to answer your question, Coach, Oklahoma got exposed last week against Kansas State. I think I commented on somebody's tweeted out to somebody that was OU a fraud. I said, and my answer honestly was, I think we were overrated to begin the season at number 9 coming in. Number 6, I thought that was a little still too high heading into the Nebraska game. And sorry, Husker fans, I think you guys just really sucked. I'm just going to call it as it is because, Kent State was decent in the first half, but Nebraska just, couldn't do anything. And, of course, Kansas State, which I was afraid of, did what they did to tear that ground up. And it wasn't Deuce Vaughn, it was Adrian Martinez. But Kansas State exposed Oklahoma. TCU took care of it. They continued to expose Oklahoma. And to answer your question, recap, OU is not there caliber-wise, talent-wise. You can tell. The defense has a lot of work on it. I don't know if Dylan Gabriel's the guy at quarterback.
Is he, by the way, is he injured or did they just bench him?
He went out with a concussion, more of a protocol at that point. Okay. I haven't heard much since, so hopefully tomorrow we'll know more. But I expect him to play against Texas. I think really he's just, even though he hasn't shown really too much flash. I think he's about the only answer at quarterback this year, and against a really good Texas team, I ain't going to knock Texas. So, Dylan Gabriel's inconsistent. The offense is shaky against TCU, but overall, TCU took care of what they obviously Kansas State exposed them and literally took care of business. And Brent Venables has a ton of work on heading into Dallas and against a really good Texas team.
Yeah, and one thing, like I know, like losing didn't, don't shock me because at this point anybody can beat anybody. It looks like in college football in 2022, but it was the way you guys lost. Yeah. It wasn't even, oh yeah, you got beat by 20 or whatever. They was just running the ball. Like if you had told me they was gonna have like 400 yards passing, I still would have been kind of shocked. They was literally just running the ball up the middle and then gaining like 20, 30, 40. I'm like, I turned the game on like, oh, like what's really going on with the defense? Like TCU, and who knows? I don't know a lot. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know a lot about TCU. We here in the Southeast, it's ESPN and ABC dominated. We do get Fox, but it's hard to watch TCU play unless they playing like a Oklahoma because they just don't come on TV. You know what I mean? So I didn't know anything about them until I start watching your game, and I'm like, is TCU that good at running the ball, or is Oklahoma just not good at stopping the run? So,
and that's a great point. It goes back to Max Duggan, the quarterback of TCU, literally did what Adrian Martinez did, and he wasn't that fast of a quarterback. That's what was surprised. I mean, this dude looks like it was. I ain't gonna say it was me out there. I'll probably be more slower than he was, but he wasn't fast. He wasn't a quick quarterback, but he broke runs. He got, I think it was 66 yards, 69 yards, something like that for the house, which. Whatever, but maybe TCU's that dark horse. Sonny Dykes got that team rolling, and no offense to Sooner fans. And I tweeted out, and a good friend of mine, she tweeted back like, "Thanks for the reminder." Garrett Riley, the offensive coordinator, is the brother of Lincoln Riley, so that was the double slap for all of us Sooner fans yesterday in Fort Worth. But no, I think overall OU just got beat down, slapped around, made a fool of. I mean, that's just all there is to it.
Yeah, that's what it is. But like I said, nobody is indestructible as we've seen. No. I mean, 2 weeks ago, Texas Tech took care of Texas. Yep. When I say took care of, they won the game. It doesn't matter if it was overtime or they blew them out. They won the game, and that definitely. I don't think I predicted that. I thought Texas was going to win. So this sets up as a good showdown and a Big 12 needed game for both squads. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys are 0-2 in the conference. They're 1-1. Actually, no, they're 1-1 after yesterday. Now you guys have won 7 of the last 10. I mean, now granted, Lincoln Riley was there, whether offensive coordinator or coach for most of those. So we'll see what's going on. Quinn Ewers has been reported as trying to come back. That could be good or bad for Texas. Good because he's better than Hudson Card, but bad because he hasn't been able to have that chemistry with his receivers and things of that nature. So let's just go ahead and get into it, actually, man. So we'll talk about that Texas offense. The one thing that I was looking at, man, just based off of the last 2 weeks, you gotta be concerned about Bijan running for a lot of yards against Oklahoma. So. I mean, I guess how are you feeling about that? Are you thinking that Brent Venables can come up with something in the next 5 days to kind of slow him down?
Well, I hope Brent Venables. I know Sooner fans. I'm going to kind of have to pick on us today. Really, I really hope Brent Venables has an answer. I don't know what the answer is defensively when it comes to the running game. I don't know if there's a missing player that we may not know that might be out. Maybe Jalen Redmond. I don't think I've seen his name out there at all last week. Against Kansas State, even on Saturday against TCU. Maybe he was a missing piece. I don't know. It just seems to me as if that Nebraska was really just exposed how bad Nebraska really was, and maybe we weren't that great. To answer your question, Bijan, Mr. Robinson, boy, that kid can play. He did well against us last year, and if they don't get this hardcore practice, I think they're going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think Thursday, I think they'll go down Friday morning to Dallas, but I'm sure doing a walkthrough. Honestly, knowing Brent Venables, I'm sure it's going to be an intense one. But he's got to fix that defense. And I mean, I'm not going to knock that it's the offensive fault either. Overall, they're just not a good team. But
yeah.
yeah, I think Bijan Robinson. I think he's going to have a day against Oklahoma if they don't get this defensive line figured out and this defense figured out back to where it was against Nebraska. I think Texas could easily repeat last year's first half, and I think this time they won't let go of this big 28-point lead what they had on us before we finally Caleb Williams did his thing, but concerns the running game. That's my biggest concern. Quinn Evers, excellent kid. I like what he brings to the table. I think he's a little bit more especially better than Hudson Card is.
Yeah, I think he is overall, definitely.
Yeah. I think that's going to be their better quarterback, but Card can play too. I think Evers is a better chance at winning, but when you get Robertson in the backfield, I think they might be able to survive Dallas if Oklahoma can't get this defense figured out really quick.
Yeah, I think Brent Venables is probably going to try to put more bodies in the box which is definitely going to, is going to, leave some of those secondary guys on the island, but he could play a little shell coverage behind him and just play some kind of bend, don't break type. Yeah. Hey, man, just don't let nothing get behind you because we need to stop Bijan. You know what I'm saying? Like Texas does have some weapons on the outside, but if I'm the coach, just looking at the last 2 weeks, I'm putting more bodies in the box and playing like a shell coverage in the secondary and saying, hey, man, don't let that get behind you. We'll 20-20, we'll probably give up a lot of yards, but once we get down in that red zone, kind of shrink the field and we'll roll with it like that. Now, on the converse side, man, you said that Dylan Gabriel kind of went out with a concussion, and then the guy that came in behind him actually is a transfer from Pitt, I think. Yep, from Pitt. He's actually what's crazy. I'm from Greenville, South Carolina. He's from Greenville, South Carolina too. So,
very nice.
Yeah. So he was out there. I ain't gonna say he made a difference. he was out there. His QBR wasn't too great, but at that point, honestly, and at that point it was already 34-10, I think. So that's a lot to have to come in when you don't get but 25% of the reps during the week, and then now you asked to come in and run an offense when the other team is really feeling themselves. You know what I'm saying? So, how are you feeling about y'all running game up until this point, Eric Gray and company, man?
I still like Eric Gray. I like Marcus Major, Robert Barnes, the freshman coming in this year. I really love that kid, but really, I don't know. The offensive line didn't show much. I think they're going to have to run the ball really well against Texas, especially Eric Gray. I think he's about your most physical one. Kind of a comparison to DeMarco back in 07. But I think I like a running game. Right now, I think they're so one-dimensional, knowing that Dylan just is his accuracy, again, especially against TCU. But it's really been throughout the year. It's really been inaccurate. And so – inconsistent at finest. So I think Oklahoma at times is more one-dimensional, but I like the running game. Offensively, if I had to pick, the biggest key is I think the passing game is going to have to absolutely show up on Saturday. Texas got some good secondary. Their defense, I like their defense. Very physical, swarming to the ball type thing, but that running game I do like. That passing game, I don't. I'm really starting to get off this Dylan Gabriel bandwagon here.
Well, I think I used to watch him when he was at UCF or whatever, and I think it was some of the same. Like he's kind of hot and cold. He can take you all the way up and down the field like it's nothing. Then all of a sudden he, just like the talent just disappears for about 2 or 3 downs, putting you in a bad spot. Now you're kicking field goals. Yep. One thing I noticed this year, and I think you and I talked about it when we did the Kansas State previews, I think Dylan Gabriel mentally, he's an all or nothing type guy. It's like you don't always have to get the big play, man. Like sometimes you might need the 5 yard until you got 50 yards, or trust your guys to make plays. Like dump it down. He might make, dump it down to the tight end or the slot receiver or whoever. He might just make somebody miss and turn it into a big game. But I think that's kind of hindering him as well. Hopefully he can go. Like you said, concussion protocol. I don't know all the rules behind that. We want people to stay safe, especially watching what happened to Tua. That was just, I think that, Oklahoma's definitely going to make sure they follow all protocols there. And if he can't go, at least that'll give, I think the guy's name is Davis, the backup. At least it'll give him a week of taking all first team reps, which definitely makes a difference. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, I'm hoping. You know, obviously, I'd rather have safety first than have a quarterback go out there and literally kill himself.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's a big game, especially for Oklahoma, trying to stay at this point. Any hopes that's left of the Big 12 championship run, it really relies on Texas this week. But I hopefully he can go. Obviously, safety first. You know, he still hasn't thrown an interception. I'll give him that much. So, you know, I think his passing completion is a little over barely 60. So, you know, I think I looked up a little over 1,200 yards. So, not bad, but you know, he's got to be, if he gets to go, he's going to have to be Dylan that can really play, because this Texas team's they're gonna pressure him, and if he gets knocked around a lot, this could be a long day for Sooner Nation.
Yeah. So if you had to, right before we get to the predictions or whatever, if you had to pick out a sort like the weak point of the offense, is it Dylan Gabriel, or is it kind of the play calling, or is it talent?
Talent obviously isn't there. I do like, you know, Farouk, and I obviously like Marvin Mims, and the tight end. I ain't gonna name. I can't even tell you who the tight end is. I think we got away from that since Lincoln left for USC. But no, I think it's really Dylan. Dylan is really holding back this offense. I saw some frustration against TCU in Fort Worth on Saturday, to where the balls are literally they're making receivers jump for them, and so.
Yeah. Not good. Not giving the receivers a chance to make a play on it. Yeah.
So overall, obviously I wasn't expecting too much of a season, as we all know from the preview show, but not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But nonetheless, the answer to your question, short and sweet, I think Dylan has really been the weakest link so far in this early, even though we're halfway through the season, I think in the season so far.
Yeah. So hopefully, if he does pass protocol, he's playing. It's a big game, man. One thing it's a rivalry game. A lot of times, you know, I know, like I said, Oklahoma's won 7 out of the last 10, but Texas kind of had you guys pinned down last year, and then just, you know, Oklahoma came storming back or whatever. But in a rivalry game, you just don't know how it's going to be, man. These guys get up, and then all of a sudden you're like, where that's been all season? You know what I'm saying? Why'd you say that for the Texas game? We needed that 2 weeks ago.
And I'm hoping maybe that's a thing with Jeff Libby and Brent Venables. Maybe they were playing too much of it was a bad game to really, it was really bad to play conservative, but maybe that was the case. We'll see Saturday morning. Or Saturday afternoon, I should say.
Definitely. So let's go ahead and get into the predictions, man. Vegas Bet MGM is what I'm getting these numbers from. Oklahoma's actually picked to win by 6. They're a 6-point favorite. So I think some of that has to do with the fact that Texas, you know, they lost to Alabama, yes, but they also, you know, lost to Texas Tech, and they kind of been, you know, I don't know if they ain't got Quinn Ewers. You know, I don't think people are big on Hudson Card. Then you go back to the history, even last year, even though Texas wasn't really good last year, you guys still beat them in like say 7 out of 10. That kind of stick in your mind, man. So, give me one key to the game and a score prediction.
Key to the game is, you know, stats don't matter, records don't matter in this game. I love this game. I think this is one of the best rivalries in college football, but. You know, I think the biggest key is going to be turnovers. I think for both teams, turnovers in this atmosphere is huge. It really swings, especially Oklahoma that really hasn't turned over the ball much. You know, Texas has shown that they can compete with the big boys. With Alabama, should have beat Tech, but what should have, could have is a whole different story. Turnovers, I think, is a big key, especially if you're Oklahoma. But I think both sides for Texas and Oklahoma, and I'm going to be biased. I'm going to give you 2 predictions. My legit prediction, I hate saying this. If Quinn Evers plays, I think Texas wins. To answer your question, my prediction, Texas wins this one. And the reason why I think Texas wins this one is this defense has really got me concerned. Dylan Gabriel offensively, if he's not a go, I got no faith in these quarterbacks. I just don't. I got nothing to really say, oh, yeah, we're going to – you know, so Texas wins. I'm really hoping it's not going to be as bad as I think it might be. Let me go 24-20. I think Texas defeats Oklahoma. Now, from the joking side of it, if Hudson Card wins and maybe Dylan can play, maybe. I don't know if there's even a joke inside. I think Texas will win this one. As much as I don't like saying that, Coach, I just don't. This defense the last 2 weeks has sucked.
Yeah,
it just has sucked.
It definitely
I
has
don't know
not
what
been
else
good.
to really go with it on this one.
Definitely.
And with Bijan, boy, this could be a long day.
Yeah, it definitely could, man. I'm kind of going with you, man. I know Vegas. Listen, Vegas knows for a reason, man. And we're not saying going out here and bet. Don't take our word for it. Bet your house.
Yeah, please don't.
We just do it. That's for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, please don't.
But I just, man, I'm like you, man. I just can't. I can't really see the way, like you said, the way they look, especially yesterday. Like it started in the in the Kansas State game, but then it kind of like snowballed and like really took off yesterday or Saturday. And I'm like, bro, like can't keep getting gashed like this. And it was like big play after big play after big play. And it's like, yeah, we can. Let me double check this spread, make sure I got the right spread here, because I said 6. So I want to make sure that actually is 6 here. Let's see.
Well, exactly. And while you look that up, no, I mean, I'm with you. I think, would it surprise me Texas wins? Absolutely not. Oklahoma's just, Kansas State has absolutely exposed Oklahoma. And TCU, and I think Texas is smart enough. I think they're going to continue to do their homework. And, hopefully Brent can get this defense. But I'm afraid that this is a defense that we were seeing, that we were afraid of headed into this year. So we'll see down in Dallas.
Yeah, actually, no. Looks like I had it backwards. Texas is picked to. Yeah, I'm on ESPN. They got it correct. Yep. Texas is -6 and Oklahoma is +6. So I think your score would cover the spread at least.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
And I think it is going to be a low-scoring game, kind of like a 24-21, 24, maybe 24-17 if Texas is playing really good. So the over-under is 65. They're all obviously Vegas is saying neither team will be able to stop each other. so I don't see that. Because I think if you guys can't stop the run, they're gonna feed Bijan, which kills the clock. And if I'm Brent Venables on the other side, I run a little bit more air grade than I want to, maybe, so that I can keep Bijan off the field.
Well, exactly, and maybe give Dylan some help if assuming he's a go. Maybe gives him some help, but obviously I'm wearing the OU to beat Texas hat. I mean, obviously I want OU to beat Texas. I can't stand Texas. This is probably the biggest game of the year that at this point I really care about now. But reality, it would. I don't think it's possible. Not with the defense and the offensive struggles that we've had. Special teams haven't really been much of a key, so and the kicking, field goal kicking, is really weird too. So,
yeah,
no, I got Texas. As much as I hate saying that, I think Texas comes out on top, and we can at least maybe we'll be officially eliminated from that Big 12 race unless something just drastically weird happens from next week on. But I don't see that happening. But maybe we can get some pressure off of us and just focus on trying to improve into 23.
You're right. If you win this, you are still I mean, numerically, you're still not out of it if you lose. But realistically, if you lose this one, you're 3 games down in the Big 12. I don't see all of those teams, Oklahoma State, TCU, Kansas, even Baylor, who's only lost 1 Big 12 game, Texas Tech, who's only lost 1 big, 1. I don't see all of them, losing 3 games. So I think, like you said, but if you win this weekend, you still got hope alive because you can, you beat the rest of the teams. At least if you beat the rest of the teams on your schedule, that would definitely eliminate, as far as you and them, that would eliminate Baylor, because that would be Baylor's second loss and you'd have to head. So we'll see how that turns out, man. I appreciate you coming on, man. Before we get off of here, man, telling people where they can find you.
Hey, On Air with Mike, my personal one, Chatted Up Football, and then, of course, Air Raid _podcast. And that's how you hit me up on the Twitter.
That's right, man. I think you'll probably be previewing this on your podcast on Wednesday, man. So
definitely will. And of course, if you guys are active, follow me, because Saturday morning it's going to be all day Twitter. And if it's anything like last week, I promise you it won't be. This one it's going to be more active than it was against TCU. I promise you that one. Just stay tuned.
That's right, man. So there it is, man. My old air with Mike from the Air Raid Attack podcast. It's Coach Out of Fan Addict. Don't forget to leave your predictions in the comments and comment, like, and subscribe. Go follow him on all your favorite podcast network channels or whatever, Apple, Spotify, whatever it is. Hey, man, we out of here looking for another good week of college football.
Got it jumping like it's that valley. I call my dogs out the pound, let's go eat. Turn on the fan addict, let's have a debate. Who really hold down the Southeast from state to state? What team hungry gonna eat everything up off their plate?